Today I will be ranking all 5-star gems inside of Diablo Immortal for PvP. It has been a while we did this, and before we start, just a disclaimer here, this will be my personal opinion and not a fact. You can have a different looking tier list for the 5-star gems, and in fact I would be looking forward to your feedback, your comments. How would you guys rank these gems differently? Now that is out of the way, let's start this. I will be switching the screen here. There we go. And the first gem that we will be ranking is going to be Hellfire Fragment. I will be putting this gem in C tier. My reason for that is it's just not that great for range classes, and when it comes to the melee classes, they have much better options when it comes to other 5-star gems, and so this isn't all that great, and I would not recommend using it, especially for the top tier PvP battleground games. The next gem is going to be Starfire Fragment. This used to be really good with the knockback and CC, but nowadays that isn't that great. Classes like Tempest can avoid the knockback, Barbarian can also be immune to CC, and if you are a top tier Necromancer, your rat form time is going to be somewhat almost 80%, so it's easy to avoid getting hit from the knockback of the Starfire Fragment, and so I will be putting the gem in B tier. Now the next gem is going to be Spiteful Blood, still a really good gem in the top tier lobbies for PvP, especially if you are somewhat playing in a close range. It can protect you, give you some shield, increase your damage, especially good versus Demon Hunter trying to shoot you in close range. Why I am putting this gem in A tier, you need to stop those hits from a Demon Hunter. They can melt you really fast, but still that is just my opinion, and I will be putting it in the A tier for the top tier PvP games. The next gem is going to be the Frozen Heart. Again, a really good gem in my opinion for the classes who wants to be a bit more tanky, especially in the close and mid range. I will be putting the gem in the B tier. I think it's a good gem if you want to play somewhat a tanky role. And the next gem is going to be the Concentrated Will. We have a lot of dashes now with most of the classes, and some classes like Tempest and even the Demon Hunter can take a big advantage from this gem, and I believe so it is fair to put it in the A tier or the B, but just to be safe I will be putting the gem in the B tier because still till this day this gem isn't that popular in PG. And our next gem is going to be Gloom Cask, one of the best gems inside of Diablo Immortal when it comes to primary attack. But speaking of primary attack, not all classes are utilizing primary attack all that much. So I truly believe this is best gem for a Demon Hunter to use inside of Battleground. For them, this is going to be maybe S or A tier, but for other classes which isn't utilizing primary all that much, it will be B tier. Even though it is very solid gem, you cannot just stand and use primary with some other classes like Demon Hunter. So I will be putting the gem in the B tier. Moving on to our next gem, it is going to be Void Spark, one of the best gems to combine with some damage over time build, or as a melee class trying to hit person in front and spreading that damage over time to other classes as well from the Chain Lightning. We'll be putting the gem in A tier, gives you some attack speed increase plus some range and Chain Lightning. Very solid gem to use, especially like I said if you have some other gems which is basically giving you damage over time as well. Our next gem is going to be the Phoenix Ashes. I'm sorry to say this gem going into the trash tier. You are better off spending some platinum to get the Savior passive compared to just wasting one slot in your gear for cheat that isn't even that Great, and our next gem is going to be Chip of Stone Flesh. Again, a really solid gem, but it only works with total loss of control like freeze, stun, and fear, which isn't that easy to use. The damage itself and the effect itself is really strong, but the gem isn't going to work with a lot of classes. So I will be putting the gem in the B tier. Our next gem is going to be the Howler Call. It has a stun, low chance of stun, and the wolf is just randomly go and target or try to target something, but it is quite easy to avoid this wolf, and it just isn't that great in PvP. So I will be putting the gem in the C tier. The next gem is going to be, in my opinion, S tier, but the damage itself isn't S tier or even B tier. The only reason I'm putting this gem in the A tier is damage over time. You can combine this gem with like Everlasting, you can combine this with Viper Bite and Fuel Grace of the Fledgment for peace that is not strife inside of PvP, and it will trigger and help you trigger that Grace of the Fledgment much faster. Why this is still one of the best gems out there to use with damage over time build, and it also gives you some movement speed reduction on the place. But if you are not focused on the damage over time build, then this gem will drop maybe to the C tier inside of PvP. But for players who are utilizing damage over time, for them this gem is going to be easily A tier or even higher. Our next gem is going to be Blessing of the Worthy. The effect of the damage itself isn't going to be that great, but when it triggers, it also gives you some damage reduction, which is somewhat can be useful for melee classes or even range classes when they get hit, but still not that great of a gem when it comes to PvP. The next gem is going to be Bloodsoaked Jade. It might not give you that 100% attack damage at all times, but you will have that 10% movement speed increase, which is really important in my opinion inside of PvP to have more mobility, able to move, escape, guide. This is going to be overall really good for all classes inside of Diablo Immortal PvE, PvP as well. Our next gem is going to be the Echoing Shade, and honestly this is just my opinion, but I don't think this gem is going to give you all that much. The Echoing Shade are easy to kill, they don't do much damage, and you are better off using something else here from the list, and Echoing Shade is just isn't that strong in PvP nowadays in 2024. Next gem is going to be a Bottle Hop. Really good gem to use, gives you some skill cooldown reduction flat, doesn't matter if it triggers or not, and when it triggers it gives you movement speed and damage increase when you're using your buff skill. And nowadays every single class is using some sort of buff, so really easy to use and one of the best gems out there in Diablo Immortal. The next gem is going to be Zwenson Haunting. Again, I will be putting the gem in the trash tier for PvP. It will only trigger when you kill a player, and it will only give you the resonance, and you won't be getting anything else which is good. And the next gem is going to be the Roiling Consequence, one of the best gems inside of Diablo Immortal. Highly recommend getting you that CC, and on the top of that, when you hit a player, they will also will be put on fire and take some explosion damage. Really strong gem. And now moving on to the next gem, Hilts of Many Realms. This gem just isn't that good with first 6 levels of the gem. Maybe once you get this gem to rank 8, then it somewhat get better, but in the first early ranks of the gem it just isn't that great. The chances of stunning the player or knock up is just isn't that good, and the damage itself isn't good. So I will be putting the gem in the C tier. And now moving on to our next gem, Stormvault. This is decent gem to make people run away, and if you are using a Roiling Consequence, it can also create a firestorm, which is somewhat a nice combination, and it works great on the idols when you are a range class or a melee class fighting on an idol. It can cover a lot of ground and make people run away if they don't want to get hit from the gem. Especially gets really strong when you combine it with the Roiling Consequence and some other damage over time and Grace of the Fledgment as well. And now we are left with two gems, the Maw of the Deep and Wulfheort. Maw of the Deep, I will be putting it in the B tier. Somewhat works a bit worse compared to Starfire Shard. Really easy to avoid in PvP. You have a lot of time to get away from this, but if you hit the enemies with this, the armor will break and you will deal more damage to them. And I will be putting this in the B tier for some crowd control, making people run away and breaking their armor. And now we are left with the Wulfheort. I will be putting the gem in the S tier for players who are using the damage over time build and fueling the grace of the Fledgment. And for players who are not doing that, this gem will drop down to A tier or even a B tier. So it works best for damage over time, fueling grace of the Fledgment. And just to be safe, I will be putting the gem with the uh, S tier here. I think it is a lot stronger compared to Seeping Bile. Does a lot more damage, gives you some attack speed as well, and can trigger really fast if you combine the Viper Bite, Seeping Bile, Everlasting, and Fuel Grace of the Flashwind. And that is how my tier list looks for the 5-star gems. Let me know in the comment section down below what would you guys change and why would be that. I'm signing off. See you all in the next one. You guys have a great day later.